Hey, Black Belt reads back for Vampire October. So my next installment, Stephen Graham Jones, the Buffalo Hunter. Kind of a weird name. Uh, again, he's just such a unique author. He has such a strange style. I was really excited for this book because I think this is like my fifth book by Jones that I've read so far. Pretty much loved everything that I've read from him, especially The Only Good Indians, A Night of the Mannequin, Mongrels. So, Mongrels is about werewolves. And he had such a unique take on the werewolf lore, and I was really excited to see what he would do with vampires. And I was not disappointed at all. This was, first of all, amazingly written, just absolutely beautiful. It's like a literary, masterpiece. And he just happens to be a horror writer. It was challenging to get through at times because you're following two people throughout most of the book, a Native American vampire and the preacher that he's sort of telling his story to. And they have very different ways of speaking, of course. So the parts with our Native American vampire here, his name is Goodstab. So all of these people from his tribe, I think they're called the Blackfeet. They all have very strange names, just very like literal names like Good Stab or Walks by River, stuff like that. Uh, doesn't take like does not take scalps. What's your name? My name is I don't take scalps. Stuff like that. The way they talk about animals, it's the same way. They don't say like a mouse, it's a dirty face. Stuff like that. So dogs, cats, horses, bears, they all have strange names and it's kind of hard to follow sometimes. Then the sections with the preacher or the pastor. He is like an 1800s preacher. He has a very sort of old fashioned way of speaking. Like, verily do I say, sometimes it's a little bit hard to follow. It's like reading one of the old classic literature books that can be a little rough sometimes. Now, all that being said, the book is a masterpiece, really. It's honestly brilliant. Like, he's so creative. The thing that I love the most about this was just what he did with vampires. We all know what a vampire is, but he has his own unique take on it. Like, for instance, I won't have any spoilers about the plot of the story or anything, but I just want to talk a little bit about what vampires are like. So there's just a few moments that I want to talk about. When this guy gets turned and he has to feed on blood, right? He can't control it. He can't stop. He's just it's like a external force that he cannot control. For instance, I think there's a part where he feeds on a bear or a really big animal. He can't stop himself from feeding on it. It's got too much blood for him, but he can't stop. So his stomach bursts open because of all the blood, and he still just keeps drinking and he can't stop. It's like very fascinating, just a play on, you know, gluttony in a way. That's kind of what vampires are, right? They're just like mindless, gluttonous things. Sometimes they're really smart, but in this story, they are. It's just uncontrollable. At least for this guy, there are really, really fun things that happen when the vampire starts drinking. He, he, you'll turn into whatever you're drinking if you keep doing it. For instance, if he were to just only feed on white people, he noticed that he starts to grow a beard and his skin starts to become lighter. He's starting to become what he's eating. Like the saying, you are what you eat. And this even happens with animals. Like if he starts feeding on the elk too much, he starts to grow horns out of his head. Stuff like that. Oh, that is so fun, and the way they play into it is honestly excellent, especially the ending of the book. The ending is phenomenal. One of the best endings. Now, the last 50 pages or so are actually told from a third point of view. I didn't love that stuff so much, but all the stuff with Goodstep, like the ending to his actual story that he's telling, is excellent. He finds a man locked in a cage, and he calls him the Catman. The Catman is who turns him into a vampire. The Catman is sort of the antagonist throughout Goodstab's story. And the way that all ends is honestly will stick with me for so long. It was one of the best things I've read all year long, for sure. Just the stuff with the preacher talking about his life and his interviews with Goodstab. That stuff was a little hard to follow sometimes. It was kind of hard to want to pick the book up. I guess what I'm trying to say is the book is brilliant, excellently written, beautifully done, truly brilliant. But it wasn't necessarily fun to read a lot of the time. Some of the stuff with the preacher was a little, droning for me. But all the stuff with Goodstab, while it's kind of hard to follow because of what he calls things, uh, I was enraptured by it. It was excellent. So, if you're interested in a unique take on the vampires, I mean, this is one of the best ones. Man, I've done a lot of vampire books this month. This is one of the best ones for sure. This is definitely the best book I read for October. I will say it was better than the other books I've read. It's actually a new book. So I usually read older books. Um, I don't always keep my finger on the pulse of like what's happening. But since I was so interested in Mr. Jones, I saw this and I thought this is going to be one of those books I read that the year it actually comes out. So I think this came out earlier in 2025. So hey, look at me. I actually read a book that came out this year. Now, the preacher, the Native American guy calls him three persons. His name is Arthur, but he calls him three persons. And he's like, "Why are you calling me three persons?" He said, "The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Is that not, are you not three persons?" Very fun. I love that stuff. I love all the names and everything. It's just, there's even a part where Goodstab first shows up to sort of interact with this preacher, and he's wearing a black robe. And you're like, is he wearing it because he sees this guy in church and that's what he wears? So he's trying to like fit in, which is really fun. Or is he just doing it because he's a vampire and he's got to hide from the sun? So you don't really know. It's kind of little stuff like that. Really unique. I highly enjoyed the book. Man, this is like a really tough one for me. I don't know if I would say 4 stars or 5 stars. It's one of my favorite books I've read all year. I feel like I have to give it 5 stars, but it was, not very fun to read at times. So, take that as it is. I feel like I could just keep talking about this book for a long time, but I don't want to spoil anything. I would love to get into some of the details about the plot, especially the end when, everything sort of wraps up with the Catman and everything. That was one of the best endings I've read for sure. So, highly recommend this. Let me know if you've read it, if you liked it. I know Stephen Graham Jones can be tough for some people. I don't know. It just worked for me. Thanks for watching, y'all. See ya.